Yo, what's up, Duval Nation? But it's another episode of Duval Against y'all. I'm your host, Zach. You know it is. You know how to find me on my socials at blind_side_73. This is another produced by Towards the Titles. Today we're gonna be talking about some guys who have been studs, guys who have been duds during this first week of training camp now. Since we're now more into training camp, we have more and more videos coming out, people doing, and then some reports coming out. So I'm going to discuss some of that today. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you like this or also some other stuff, make sure to check out our website. That's at towardsthecollege.com. Also, while you're subscribing on YouTube, make sure to check out the Sister Network. That's the CFB Nation for all your college football news. So it's all connected. Just make sure everything's good for y'all. Okay, so I'm going to start with our studs, and then we're going to go to the duds of the guys. This is how I'm going to call this little segment. Because some of these players will surprise you. Some of them, I feel like a lot of us have seen the clips, but I'm still going to show what you got. All right. So we're going to start out with not the obvious one who's been tearing up training camp. We're going to talk about Garrett Prince. All right, so he's probably most likely his best chance is probably going to be the third tight end. But he is having a great training camp. He's scoring touchdowns in the red zone and 11-11 on 7 and 7s. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. He is showing that he is one of those guys that needs to make the roster, and he's going to be fighting for his job. He's going to be fighting, and he's not going to go away quietly like a lot of players do or have done in the past. Even though we all know Evan Ingram was going to be our starting tight end, and more on him on a second. And then most likely, since we just invested the second round pick into him, Brenton Strange will be our number 2 tight end. And then we have the Garrett Princes and the Luke Farrells of the world. Sim Reyes, Josh Peterson, Coach Doug's son, who I don't think will make the team. But so in that group, there's all for the third spot. But Garrett Prince is showing should be the number 3 tight end. He's, like I said, he's dominating he's scoring on everyone. He's getting touched. He's scoring on Tyson Campbell is our best corner. He had a touchdown against him earlier this week. So just he's one of my studs for training camp. He's showing that he belongs in this league. With Farrell not having the greatest, that's Luke Farrell, our receiving prowess, I think Garrett Prince should catch him at third. Well, we do need a blocking tight end. We can kind of finagle that out a little more and put one of our tackles out there in that spot if we need for blocking. But he's, like I said, I was saying it earlier, though, on some of those shows. If you check those out, I was saying Garrett Prince is a guy to watch. And now he's showing why I said he's a guy to watch. I feel like he should be able to keep this up. He's kept it on even when pads went on. So that's proven that he's one of these guys that he should make the team this year. But he's, like I said, he's one of my studs for week 1. Another one of my studs, like I said before, is Evan Ingram. We all know we finally signed him to that contract, and so he's here for the long haul. A lot of guys, I feel like when they get paid, don't have a tendency to not play as hard or do everything as they should be as they were when they were on their contract year. Evan Ingram's still doing the same thing. He's still the first guy out on the field for practice. He's one of the last guys to leave. He's staying time with the jug machine and catching passes with Trevor. He's working out with the quarterbacks when they're doing their drills to catch passes with them. That's just more reps with him and Trevor. We already knew what he could do on the field, but so he's just doing it even better. He should be better even this year with another year in the system, another year with Trev. Of course, his numbers may dip a little bit with another guy we're talking on this list. But I feel like he's still showing, hey, I'm still hungry, I'm still working hard, and that's a huge thing for training. Because a lot of people oh, I got my money, I'm already here. They're not gonna cut me. I don't have to do as much as I need to. But he's showing that he can do and be that guy still. So he's a stud training camp. So I know it's both tight end too. That's 2 tight ends, but I mean our tight end offense I feel like is going to be really good again. We saw what Doug Pearson has done in Philly with tight ends. So I feel like that's what we're going to start building here in Duval County. Next guy on my list is Antonio Johnson. I know I talked about him before. I feel like he can eventually make some competitions when it comes to the slot corner role or slot DB role, I guess in his case, because he's considered more of a safety. But he's getting turnovers. He's showing the turnovers he can get. He's one of the second team. He's one of the starters already on that group at safety. So that's him and Dan Thomas are kind of fighting for it. So that's just another opportunity for him. I mean, he was a steal of the draft. I feel like a lot of projections were having him in the third or fourth, or like the third round, and he fell to us. Late in the fifth, if I remember right. So I mean, that's a steal for him. Or fifth or sixth, and so he's going to show why he's projected that high. I know people saying he doesn't have the speed to be a corner, but I feel like he's showing. He's another one showing the camera. He's getting interceptions almost every day. There's a report of him getting a pick or a turnover or getting a pass deflection. So, but he's around the ball. So that's what you kind of want for your safeties or corners. Should be, even if you don't get your hands, like you can't intercept it, at least you want to knock it down or keep your hands on it. So that's really improving. I'm really surprised. While I think he felt he was going to be good, I didn't feel like he wasn't going to take over this quickly. But so he is showing why he was projected to be a high draft pick, and I feel like he will be our steal of the draft. Other than Anton Harrison, I feel like he probably has the easiest way to start. Because I mean, as much as we love Rashad Jenkins, I think Rashad and Cisco probably going to be starters with Wingard as third. But if Antonio catches up to Wingard, which I don't think to see that happening this year, but I still think he could do it. There's the potential for it. And I feel like he was also drafted to kind of be a Rashad Jenkins replacement if Rashad Jenkins is back to do what he did last year again this year. Because remember, this is Rashad's third year in Jacksonville. I remember the first one with the Urban Meyer debacle, which we all think collectively agreed that year doesn't count, doesn't exist. But statistically, he wasn't great in the year that didn't exist. And now then last year, of course, he had a bunch of turnovers for us, but there were some rankings, both Pro Football Focus and I think it was NFL Nation. There may be didn't rank him high. Was talking about his playmaking, but then everything else, it wasn't consistent. So that's always something that Rashad needs to be careful, because if Antonio Johnson gets turnovers all the time, eventually you might lose your spot because he's not taking it from Cisco. And then you have two great turnover backs back there, or DBs. So that's good from them. Like I said, what I really like is two of these guys with Garrett Prince and Antonio were guys I said to watch for training camp, and that now both not in pads and in pads, they've shown they're elite guys. So I feel like that's going to be great for our depth perspective. And then my last guy, my studs, which is the one we all know, is Calvin Ridley. The rust doesn't look like he has any rust. Looks like he's ready to go. Both in 7-on-7s, 1-on-1s, team drills, red zone, everything. It just looks like Calvin Ridley is just a different animal out there. As much as we loved Christian Kirk last year and what he was doing for us, if you watch Kirk doing a drill and then watch Calvin Ridley do the same drill, you could see the explosive difference that Calvin Ridley is just a true number one. Which I was kind of thought he'd have a few issues with like shaking the rust off and everything, which we'll see more once we get into the preseason. But he is showing that he's like, I'm doing it. I mean, him and Tyson Campbell are having 1-on-1s every day, at least. Like almost every day, there's another video of them just going at it. Ridley's winning some, Campbell's winning, and that's what we want. As they say, iron sharpens iron. So you got our best offensive weapon versus our best defensive player going at it. I just like seeing that. I feel like it's good competition for both, especially as the season gets into it. We already saw what Tyson Campbell can do. We've seen almost 2 years ago now what Calvin Ridley can't do. But it's been so long, we just see how it goes. But as of now, there's no rush showing. I know as of this video, there was an issue with his toe, but that's already been released. It was just a cleat issue, and they fixed it, and so he's fine. So I feel like Ridley's up for a big season. I've seen some mock fantasy drafts that he's fallen, so I'd make sure I'd look into that even. But I feel like Ridley's going to surprise people because I feel like Ridley's out on a mission to show that he's him. That he's not. That this 2 years is like I got better doing those. You'd be surprised because most people when they miss that much time, they come back. They're not saying like even last year with Deshaun Watson with it, given his was more of a different issue. He still looked rusty coming out. Or they got Josh Gordon looked rusty when he was coming back from his suspensions. But I don't think Ridley's going to be like that. I feel like Ridley used that time to hone his craft and be the alpha dog receiver we will have at Jacksonville. That we haven't really had since really Jimmy Smith. I mean, we've had a few good receivers. Like DJ Chark was a pretty good receiver, but he wasn't an elite receiver. I mean, he had a Pro Bowl year, but it was alternate Pro Bowl. And that was the only year he's really done anything. We had Allen Robinson, who had another one. He had 1 year and then didn't really do much. We had Cecil Shorts was a decent receiver, but again, he had 1 year, then didn't really do much. I feel like Calvin Ridley is going to show that he's not a fluke. He's going to try to do this year, and then we're going to resign him, and he's going to keep it going with him and Trevor for years to come. I feel like it could be another one of those free agent picks. Like Jimmy Smith was a free agent that we picked up, and him and Brunell took off. I feel like that's the type of effect Calvin Ridley can have on us. I mean, he's making some of the sketches and stuff he's doing it's crazy. I feel like that he could be that, and with that, him and Kirk had a good year last year. But I mean, I feel like I said, Ridley's a different animal. So we're just gonna see on that, and then I'm gonna give a special honorable mention before I go to my duds to Zay Jones. As they say, big play Zay. They forgot about Zay. Since he now will be the third receiver, I think he's gonna get a lot more favorable matchups. And he's going to show what he's doing. I mean, like even what he was doing, he was mossing guys in practice. One of the guys who's on my duds list. So that's just showing that Zay can do it. So he's my honorable mention on this for my studs. Okay, guys, make sure to check out the Patreon. There's all different tiers, and there's going to be all this bunch of cool stuff coming soon on that, so make sure to try to get on that. We got whole different ranges from $1.50 all the way up to $20 a month. So whatever you can, if you feel like you can't do more this month, then you can adjust it if you need to during situations. So I'm sure to check that out. It really helps us help put more stuff to you, and then talk to you at like events and stuff, and go to the events. That really helps us with that. So make sure to check all that out. Make sure to give us an Apple Podcast and iTunes review, because again, that helps us build this. We're building something special over here, and all that just helps the YouTube algorithm and helps us get more videos out to more people. But just make sure to do that. Like, subscribe, comment, do everything you can, man. But again, like I said, though, that helps us, helps you. So this is one button. Just hit the like and keep going. All right. So next, we're going to talk about my duds with training camp. Not saying these guys can't bounce back after this first week, but so far they're not having a great training camp. A couple of these guys are kind of entrenched starters, so they may not lose their job quite yet. And then there's some guys on here that may be losing their job or fighting for rust spot, and they're not having a good season. Good amount so far. So first on this, I'm going to have is Trey Hundred. Again, I've spoken out about Trey. I feel like he needs to be a little upgrade. I'm not a huge fan. The coaching staff loves him because he's good and he's not great coverage, but he does get the tackle down. So if he gets beat, he gets the guy down. But again, if you get beat 30 yards down the field all the time, it's not great. There's been a bunch of videos coming out of him. I mean, we're getting burned in practice on one-on-ones, which won't one-on-ones usually aren't a huge aspect because a lot of the routes and moves the receivers are making, they won't be able to make it in a real game, or there won't be enough time, but it's still not great when you see your starting corner getting beat by our rookie Parker Washington, who is, as of now, probably our fifth receiver. I feel like that's not a good look. I'm not saying you should get down him, but like there was the place he's 4 or 5 yards in front of him. So that's something we need to watch out for. I feel like he could step up. Trey could step up. He could show it. But as of this first week, he's not looking great. I don't think he's in danger of losing his job yet. Because I feel like they don't want to put the rookies in there yet. But some of the rookies are stepping up. Like I said, Antonio Johnson stepping up. The rookie we drafted out of Pittsburgh stepping up in the slot. So, and the coaching staff's kind of figuring out how to where that some of these guys can like mismatch it. So like cross training them at both slot and outside boundary corners. Antonio's playing some safety. So, and if Trey's mostly a slot, he could go out. We could put him outside, but I feel like we don't really want to do that anymore. And if these rookies stepping up, I mean, then he might end up losing his. But again, this is just week 1. But so far, he's the first on my duds list. Another dud I have for this one is Chris Claypool. We all know about his 2 arrests in this offseason, and he's not doing great in practice. He's not a great corner, but he's one of our core special teams players, so that's going to help him. But with all these rookies coming in and him on a contract year, he's maybe having to fight for his job a little more than he would like. There was a play in practice where Zay Jones straight mossed him in the end zone. That's never a good look as a corner, especially because that ball was overthrown. He didn't turn and look for it. So, I mean, that all is just things against Rivers. And then, like I said, with his arrest, I mean, I feel like he's going to be fighting for his job way more than he has in years past because we have more and more depth this year. But it's just he's another one of those guys we just need to watch for one duds. Another dud I have is C.J. Beathard, our back quarterback. He's having some accuracy issues this year, training camp. He's throwing a lot of interceptions, which I don't think he's in danger of losing his job because I don't think Nathan Rourke is ready to be the backup. I think Nathan Rourke is going to be a practice squad guy, and then we might bring him up as an emergency outlet or something of the like. But for now, Beathard needs to step up because, I mean, worst case scenario, we can go sign another quarterback, and him and Beathard can battle for the second spot. It may, again, it's just practice, but there comes a point that you shouldn't be throwing like it's almost every day he's throwing multiple interceptions. So that's something we need to work out. Then my last 2 are 2 guys for the duds. And that's Jamal Hasty and Snoop Connor. The running back group has gotten better. So I feel like they were already kind of fighting for their positions. But with this offense, I mean, it looks like Tank Bigsby is going to be the 2-back, which we all kind of predicted that was going to happen. And then for 3, you'd have Jamal Hasty, Snoop Connor, and Dearness Johnson. And then of the 3, Dearness has special teams value. And he's proven a lot more than the other 2 have as backs. So there's more stuff of him coming out. Snoop Connor, I feel like he's in danger just because Tank Bigsby does what Snoop Connor does, is the big back, power back, goal line back. But he's better at it, and he has his better hands than Connor does. So I feel like it's a uphill battle, and he's struggling in camp. I mean, he's not like fumbling or anything, but he's just not making the big plays, the big splash plays as the other running backs are. Same thing with Jamal Hasty. He's just not making the splash plays that we need for it. So I mean, they're on upper battle because I mean, most likely we probably have 4 backs, so that means one of them's probably not going to make the team after this year. I feel like they're kind of neck and neck about who should play, who shouldn't. I mean, Hasty's probably the better pass protector of all of our running backs. But again, we're not really sure how. If that's all you could do, it's kind of obvious. It's a pass down if he's only in. And we haven't seen Tank Bigsby yet in preseason. We should shortly, and then we'll see how. And that's going to feel like it's going to affect a lot because if Tank Bigsby's playing good pass protection too, that's probably going to lock his spot up at 2, a second running back, and then third would be Dearness Johnson, and then fourth would be one of the Jamal Hasty Snoop Connors. But again, those are my duds. So just like a little recap, my duds would be Chris Claypool, Trey Herndon, Jamal Hasty, Snoop Connor, and C.J. Beathard. Then my studs are Evan Ingram, Calvin Ridley, Antonio Johnson, Garrett Prince with the honor. And then for my honor management dud, I'm going to put in all pass rushers not named not named Trayvon Walker or Josh Allen. I think we're kind of realizing actually we're going to need another pass rusher, especially till Smoothie comes back, which probably looks like October, which is the meat of the season. But there's some good games early that we're going to need a bigger pass rusher, just 2 guys. So I feel like that needs to step up. We step that up. I feel like we can hang with anybody else offensively. It's just our defense can hold them. But yeah, that's the list. Make sure to start tuning next week. We're gonna have some cool things coming up. So make sure not only just on Duval Against Y'all, but on all these shows coming and up. Now that the season's coming, we got some really cool guests coming all over this channel. So make sure to check this out. Like I said, subscribe, hit the little bell so you get all the notifications for all of our videos. And Duval.
What's up, Title Tribe? We appreciate you watching the show. If you want to catch up on all of our college football content, make sure you subscribe to the CFB Nation by clicking their link below. Make sure you subscribe to the Toilets Titles Podcast Network by clicking our link below. And make sure to catch our other content by watching these videos to the side.